Hi there, Neil Clark here from Fye Cope Piping, www.fyecopepiping.com. This is day number 11 on our Burns 2022 series. I think I said 2020 a couple of days ago. I've lost 2 years. Anyway, Hohnie Cope. A couple of versions of this tune as far as piping is concerned. It's usually a 2/4 march. And there are 2 or 3 tunes. It is played as Reveille, that is time to get up, in a lot of Scottish regiments. Certainly we used to play it in the Guards. And in Guards Book number 1, it's played in a much lower version than the version I'm going to play today. The version I'm playing today again is from a Dysart album from the 1980s. But I think the reason that I like this one is, well, first of all, I heard it before I heard the Guards version, and I think it sticks closer to the actual song. So it's a 2-parted 2/4 march, and my version is on the upper hand more than the lower hand. So I actually didn't know Burns had written this one. It's a bit of a mammoth poem, and we only have one song to this particular tune. The tune is Hohnie Cope, so I suspect that the tune was written to go with the song. It may be that Burns collected the song, maybe added to it, rather than outright wrote it himself. It's titled in the book Sir John Cope trod the north right far, to the tune of Hohnie Cope. Bit of an explanation about it. It's about the Battle of Prestonpans. The Jacobites called it the Battle of Tranent Muir. The first battle of the first major battle of the 1745 Rising. Hohnie Cope was the general in charge of Hanoverian or government army in Scotland at the time. And he gets a bit of a bad press, but he allegedly was actually a reasonably capable general, and he was certainly exonerated of any wrongdoing at the battle. He'd been chasing the Jacobites about Scotland and lost them. They managed to get down to Edinburgh. He in the meantime got boats from Aberdeen and landed at Dunbar. So he advanced towards Edinburgh to meet the Jacobites, who came out to meet them, and the battle took place just outside the village of Prestonpans, and the government army believed themselves to be reasonably safe in the position that they had selected because they were surrounded by a marsh. However, a local farmer, lowland farmer, took the Jacobite side, so it shows, there was all sorts of people taking different sides. He guided the Jacobite army through the marshes, a safe passage through the marshes, and as dawn broke, the Jacobites charged at the government forces, employing the tactic called the Highland Charge, which at most meant firing your guns once, then throwing the muskets away and charging with your broadswords or whatever else they had. Axes, Lochaber axes, absolutely terrifying. The battle is reputed to have lasted 15 minutes because as soon as the government soldiers saw the Jacobites charging and they saw what happened to the first soldiers that the Jacobites met, they turned tail and ran. And Sir John Cope is meant to be the first man back to Berwick with the news of his own defeat. He goes on about that in the song. However, I think everybody ran too. Anyway, that's the general story. What's quite different about it is after the battle, the Hanoverian prisoners of the Jacobites were treated rather well in comparison with the way that Jacobite prisoners were treated by the Hanoverians. So just a quick one. As I say, 11 verses. It's a little bit different from what I would sing. Hey Hohnie Cope, are ye wauking yet? Or are ye sleeping aye with wit? Oh, haste ye get up, for the drums do beat till Fye Cope rise in the morning. Sir John Cope trod the north right far, yet ne'er a rebel he come nor, until he landed at Dunbar right early in the morning. And it goes on to allege that he was a coward and ran away with all his men. Like I say, he was exonerated at a court-martial later on, but certainly a very, very good start to the Jacobite uprising of 1745. Didn't, of course, end that way. So here's a tune for you, Johnnie Cope.